this edition of RPPV News. Local criminals regret going for a walk, the air show is grounded for another year, and it's gold, gold, gold for Frankston's sports clubs. Hello, I'm Catie Sharp. Welcome to the latest edition of RPPV News, bringing you stories from across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. We've emerged safely from lockdown, but the number of local exposure sites has tripled. If you attended any of the following places on the named dates, go to the state government website to check precise times. These are all considered Tier 2 exposure sites, which means people who were there at the critical time must get tested immediately, then isolate themselves until test results come back clear. The sites are Bunnings Warehouse in Carrum Downs on Sunday the 18th of July, then on Saturday the 24th are the Chemist Warehouse in Baxter, Tower Hill Ritchie's IGA and Coringal Hub including Coles. The final site is the United Petrol Station in Baxter on Monday the 26th. Take action now to keep your loved ones and the community safe. A chance encounter has led to a large drug bust in Mornington. Police officers were on foot patrol on Railway Grove and Ross Street on Wednesday when they spoke to two men just before midday. The officers searched the men's vehicle where they found a large amount of cocaine and cash. This led to investigators executing 3 search warrants at properties in Mornington, Seaford and Langwarrin. Cocaine, cannabis, magic mushrooms and a homemade drug press were all allegedly seized, along with more than $65,000 in cash. A 23-year-old Seaford man and a 23-year-old Langwarrin man have both been charged with trafficking cocaine, possessing the proceeds of crime and other related offences. The pandemic has struck down another victim. The Tyre Bear Show has been cancelled for another year. Originally delayed until March 2022, the air show will now not go ahead until March 23. RPPV spoke to Peninsula Aero Club President Jack Vivas, who explains why.
In light of COVID and the rules around managing a crowd of that size, we think that that's just beyond our capacity and there's a significant financial risk if we get a shutdown. So instead what we've decided to do is run a series of smaller events. So we'll have smaller crowds, but maybe 3 or 4 events over the next 12 months or into 2022. And that'll still provide us with the opportunity to show off what we have, but more importantly, raise some money for the community as we've always done to support the local charities. What we're planning on doing is that we'll probably have a warbird day and we'll wheel out all our warbirds and bring down any that we can get our hands on, notwithstanding COVID restrictions out of New South Wales and other places from time to time. We'll have an aerobatics display on another day, we'll have an antique display on another day, and maybe do another stole competition that we did a couple of years ago, which was really successful. So, provide a bit of variety to people and let them see our collection.
Meanwhile, the long-running dispute about the Tyre Bear Field between the Peninsula Aero Club and Mornington Peninsula Shire seems to have finally reached a resolution. They have agreed to go together to VCAT to support the club's application for a declaration, which they say will provide clarity about the ongoing operation of the airport and certainty for the airport operators, businesses and the community.
We're slowly getting to the right conclusion and working with the council. So the next step for us is to try and land a declaration around our permits to give us certainty around our operations and also provide some understanding for the council and the community about how we operate and what we can legally do. Now we have what they call a secondary consent approvals for allowing emergency aircraft, that is like the police, the ambulance, the RFDS and also the CFA to put heavy aircraft into Tyre when needed. And also we now have scope to run the air show over the next 5 years. We have coming up in September the declaration, a directions hearing and that'll start to pave the way around how this will work. I think that there was more things we agreed on than didn't agree on. And there was a pathway to probably bringing this to an end more quickly, but there were certainly things that we couldn't resolve, and so we've decided that we would make an application and bring this to a head.
A prime piece of commercial real estate is up for auction on the peninsula. For the first time since it was built nearly 40 years ago, the block of shops on the corner of Cook Street and Wood Street in Flinders is up for grabs. You can own property that includes 10 shops over 11 titles, including a dentist, hairdresser, cafe and the local chip shop. Situated on the main street opposite the Flinders pub, all you'll need is about $4 million. The auction in 2 weeks' time will reveal who will own the gateway to Flinders. Frankston sports clubs are feeling like winners. The council has been successful in its bid for funding from the state government's 2020 Community Sports Infrastructure Loan Scheme. They will receive low-interest loans of $6.25 million for the Eric Bell Pavilion redevelopment and $3 million for the Kevin Colopy Pavilion redevelopment at Jubilee Park. The upgraded Eric Bell Pavilion will be used by the Pines Football Netball Club and the Pines Cricket Club. The funds will be used to build new club rooms, outdoor toilets, women-friendly change rooms and multifunctional event spaces. The funds will be used to build new club rooms, outdoor toilets, women-friendly change rooms and multifunctional event spaces. The proposed refurbishment works at the Kevin Colopy Pavilion will include female-friendly change rooms and associated amenities. Adding these amenities means Jubilee Park will meet Cricket Australia's criteria for hosting national and international fixtures, putting Frankston firmly on the international sporting stage. And don't miss the next Frank Talk, part of the library's After Dark series. Keith Banks was a member of the Queensland Police Force where not everyone with a badge could be trusted. He worked undercover and was one of the first full-time members of the Tactical Response Group. Now he's written what a crime reporter for The Age calls the best true crime book published in Australia in a decade. Raw and confronting, gun to the head exposes a world of policing that few have lived. Keith will be talking about the book and his extraordinary career at 7 p.m. on Thursday the 5th of August at Carrum Downs Library. The event is free, but bookings are essential. After the break, we go to Nicola with the coming week's weather report.
There's a quiet revolution happening on the rooftops of Australia. And at Solar Heart, we're proud to be leading the charge. One home, one family, one solar panel at a time, helping smart Aussies make a real difference to the planet, cutting their energy bills and connecting them to their smart energy future. Get smart, get Solar Heart.
RPPV and Bendigo Bank have a long-standing relationship. Without Bendigo Bank, we wouldn't have a transmitter site, we wouldn't have a studio, we wouldn't have an outside broadcast fan, and without them, we can't tell the stories that we think the Bendigo Bank community, our community, needs to hear.
Thanks, Bendigo Bank.
Thanks for your support.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs, a station sponsor.
Hi, it's Nicola here with your RPP Mornington Peninsula 7-day weather forecast. Today we are coming to you from Seaford. Seaford was originally the site of the Carrum Swamp, which was utilised for food by the Bunurong Aboriginal people. In the early 20th century, after European settlement, the swamp was drained for farming purposes, with wet areas remaining only in the lowlands, including the Seaford and Edith Vale wetlands. The name Seaford arose during a meeting of the local residents in 1913, called to decide upon a name for the settlement and the new railway station that was about to open. It was agreed that the name should contain some reference to the sea. Councillor Sydney Plowman suggested Seaford, dropping the L from the hometown of Sleaford in Lincolnshire, England. Let's now look ahead to this week's weather. Today, Saturday, the 31st of July, brought us a mostly sunny morning. However, this is set to change later in the day with a 40% chance of showers. From an overnight low of 5, we should get to a top of 17. Sunday, the 1st of August, pinch and punch for the first of the month, should bring us showers in the early morning, then easing later in the morning. Winds west to northwesterly, 15 to 25 kilometres per hour, becoming light in the late afternoon. We expect a low of 8 and a high of 14. Monday brings more rain, mostly likely in the afternoon and evening, and also the chance of a thunderstorm. We should see a low of 6 and a top of 15. Tuesday sees the rain intensify with a chance of hail in some areas. From a low of 7, we should reach a high of 12. Wednesday looks much the same as Tuesday with lots of rain, with a low of 7 and a high of 13. Thursday will be a cloudy day with 80% chance of rain. We should feel a low of 8 and a high of 14. And finally, Friday will also be a cloudy day with a 70% chance of rain. We should expect another low of 8 and a high of 14. During the 1950s and 60s, Seaford grew as a result of affordability and its proximity to the beach and Frankston. Today, the Seaford Foreshore Reserve is one of the few remaining substantial continuous strands of natural coastline vegetation near Melbourne. Seaford is notable for its reserve, which divides the beach from the Nepean Highway along the whole length of the suburb. This reserve was the site for an extensive dune restoration program undertaken by the Port Phillip Authority in 1972 under the title of Seaford Experimental Project. The program involved extensive areas of fencing, revegetation and the installation of walking tracks, seats, tables and shelters. Well, that's all for this week. Try to stay safe and warm, and I will see you next time.
And now to Muzz with the Surf Report.
Hey guys, Muzz back with this week's Mornington Peninsula Surf Report. As you can see behind me, it's pretty full on the weather. It's been a very good week of pretty solid surf, and in front of us for the next 4 or 5 days is going to be the same. Right through, looking through the whole outlook to late next week, it looks like we're going to have a solid southwest ground swell. Pretty much the wind fluctuating between the west round to the northwest to the north and then back again as each front comes through. Swell's going to be pretty solid from Thursday afternoon through Friday into Saturday into Sunday, back off a little bit Monday, and then come back up a bit on Tuesday into Wednesday. But the whole outlook looks pretty good if you like waves in Western Port. You won't probably get a surf at the beaches. But now that we're out of lockdown, I expect the crowds to be pretty full on, because even in the midst of lockdown, the crowds were pretty full on. But managed to get a surfing nearly every day, so it's been a fantastic run. Hasn't made the lockdown so bad. And for all you crew coming back in, let's just be nice to each other in the water, because everyone wants to get waves. And we all love to surf, so let's make the most of it, enjoy our time back in the water. And that's it for this week. Enjoy. I will see you again next week.
And that's all from our team here at RPPV News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and do tell your friends. Stay safe, use the QR codes and get vaccinated if you can. Bringing the news from coast to coast across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.